The Vikings offense, on the other hand, which was usually put in long third down situations because of either the Bears or them shooting themselves in the foot with stupid self-inflicted penalties, was 7 of 12 on third down. It wasn't, and that was the key to the game, was the third down. So we'll see how it goes. It ended up, Jonathan Grenard had a strip sack, but the biggest moment probably in Pay's memory is when Jihad Ward came through and absolutely laid the wood to Caleb Williams. Caleb got the ball off. I don't remember if he completed the pass or not, but he got the ball off. But he absolutely laid the wood, hit him in the chest, and then we see Caleb Williams laying almost dead on the turf. It had to hurt. Now, first question to Pay is, we didn't see any Bears players come to check on him. What's up with that, Pay?
What's up with that? That is a good question. I believe just the whole locker room is just fractured right now. I think everybody's just checked out mentally. Everybody's making their plans for January Tulum appointments and Bali excursions and everything like that while the game is still going on. Right? No matter. I mean, never mind that Caleb is laying on the ground after getting blasted in the back repeatedly like he's Ricky running down the alley and Boys in the Hood. Never mind all that, right? So I don't really know how to answer that question, Dave.
Well, we later saw him laying down on the bench, or trying to lay down, and that made the thumbnail. Is that normal behavior for an NFL quarterback?
Yeah. If all I've ever seen with Chicago Bears quarterbacks, that is very normal behavior. They've always getting blown up and they got to go stretch out on the bench after getting ransacked and thrown around like a discarded toy that a 5-year-old has. I don't think it's unnormal.
What are you hoping comes out of the game? You've already fired your head coach. You've got an interim head coach. What do you hope comes from the result of the game?
The game that just happened on Monday?
Either now or later at the end of the season.
I hope Caleb, the result that I hope happens is I hope Caleb Williams makes it out of the game, doesn't end up in triage. That's the result that I can hope for. Other than that, I just hope that the game is speedy.
Okay. Well, what was your take on the game?
Oh, geez, Dave.
I have yet to watch the rant videos, so just keep that in mind. I'm all ears to hear the rant.
Well, I mean, you gave a great soliloquy for everybody that watched the game, so I'm not going to get bog anybody down on the nuts and bolts and what happened in the third quarter, the first quarter, anything like that. Every football fan watches Monday Night Football because why not? It's football. It's a Monday night. Mondays suck other than football. So I'm not going to go over those details that I know everyone saw. But I'll tell you what stuck out to me, Dave. No, it wasn't the sacks that you mentioned. No, it wasn't the flags that you mentioned. It wasn't even the drops or the boneheaded plays from our backup guard, who's, again, playing a running back position for God knows why. Wasn't none of that. You know what it was?
What?
Towards the end of the game, the cameras flashed up into the executive suites, and they showed the general manager of the Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles, sitting in the booth looking annoyed at the product now on the field. But then they went to the other side of the field, executive suites for the Minnesota Vikings, and they saw your general manager. Pronounce his name for me.
Kwesi Adofo-Mensah.
Kwesi
Adofo-Mensah.
Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Let me say that 3 times fast. Kwesi Adolpho-Mensah. Kwesi Adolpho-Mensah. Adolfo. I'm sorry. Don't
Probably going to be the executive of the year.
Sounds like a superhero.
He looked like one Monday night. While he was preening in that executive suite, smiling down at his 11-2, soon to be 12-2 team, as they destroyed the ops, as they destroyed the villain. He did look like a very pleased Iron Man standing over a defeated villain who just ain't got the right tech, right? And that's what the Bears are. The defeated villain of the NFC North who ain't got the right tech. They're the Justin Hammer to everybody else's Tony Stark. That's a little nerd reference. Don't mind me.
Hey, I don't.
They showed him. You're here, Dave. They showed him smiling and looking content at the product he got, and you know what? That's what stood out to me. Kwesi Adolpho-Mensah was hired 3 years ago. True or false, Dave?
True.
Same offseason that Ryan Poles was hired.
True.
They should have been able to do the same. They should have been able to. They may not achieve the same level of success, but get the same amount of work done.
True.
Anybody disagree? All right. But for some reason, Ryan Poles has yet to begin on whatever job that he was hired to do. Adolpho-Mensah, he's sitting back. He's got flex time. He's got plenty of time. He got time to kill because he's well excelled at his position.
Well, you got to remember, Kwesi was given an ultimatum when we hired him that he kept everybody from the Zimmer-Spielman regime to make sure that it was Spielman and Zimmer that were the problem. And we went, 13-4 that season to prove that, yes, it was. He had a poor draft, worst in probably our history. But he didn't start his stuff. He didn't get the permission to go ahead and start his stuff until the next year.
Oh, so you're telling me he even had a late start and he arrived at 12-2 this year?
Affirmative.
What the? Let me not curse your program. What is Ryan Poles' excuse? That's what stood out to me in this game. I'm watching 3 hours of football and I was annoyed the entire time until that part. That part of the game is what really piqued my curiosity. What are you looking at that's annoying you, man? What, Ryan Poles, what you mad about? This is the product that you wanted. This is the roster that you wanted. You're the one that drafted Jaquan Brisker while Cam Jurgens was still on the board. Cam Jurgens hasn't missed a start for the Philadelphia Eagles since he got drafted. Not a start. The Bears, how many centers think the Bears have had in Ryan Poles' tenure? Don't worry about the answer. I got it for you. 4 centers in 3 seasons. Cam Jurgens hasn't missed a start. Ryan Poles, you're the one that drafted Tyreek Stevenson while the number 1 center was still on the board the following draft. John Michael Schmitz for the Giants will look really good in Chicago right now, Dave. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a serious issue up the gap of the center.
You do?
Yet one of many issues on that roster. He's the one, Ryan Poles, drafted Velus Jones Jr. It's successive drafts, 3rd draft now. He drafted Velus Jones Jr., who, by all intents and purposes, should not be in the league. He drafted him in the 3rd round while the right tackle, the current right tackle for the Seattle Seahawks, was still on the board. We can use a tackle, Dave.
Yeah, you can.
We can use 2 of them. But it wasn't important to Ryan Poles at that point. So I'm wondering, what you mad about? What are you looking at that's upsetting you? This is what you wanted. You had the most cap room in 2 consecutive off seasons. And what did you do with it? You took the worst and the cheapest running back available this past free agent period. Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, all look great in their new homes. DeAndre Swift, he had a great game Monday, but he ain't one of them. I don't know why that was your first move when you had litany of other things you need to be concerned with. But that's only one thing. You're the one that opted for Kevin Byard in his 30s, fantastic center back in his heyday, while Xavier McKinney was still available. You opted to let the Packers get Xavier McKinney instead of you going to get him when we needed a safety. You're the one that traded a 5th round pick for Buffalo's backup center. You're the one that let Danielle Hunter get away from the Vikings and go right on down to Houston and enjoy bucket loads of their money and stripper and adult entertainment. It's that you couldn't do that in Chicago. What's wrong with Chicago? Why couldn't you do that in Chicago? You're the one that let Vikings fix that hole they had at pass rush with Houston's leaving free agent Jonathan Grenard. You know who Jonathan Grenard, right? He's the one that blew up Caleb's back on more than one occasion. You're the one that drafted a wide receiver, another wide receiver in the 1st round, instead of, I don't know, getting another lineman. Dallas Turner. Hello. Did he make an appearance on Monday? Yes, he did. He also sat on Caleb's face.
Whoa. Hey,
Teabagged him.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did, Dave. Yes, he did. Now, you know me.
This is a children's show.
No,
I'm sorry, Dave. This is I don't mean to rant on your program, Dave. I don't mean to rant on your program, Dave. I don't mean to get all upset, but you know me. I'm never mad at someone who putting the block on. But Ryan Poles takes the Chicago Eli's cheesecake and putting the block on. He should run for governor of Illinois with all the no-show jobs he gave out.
Fans are loving this.
I am astounded at his amazement of the job that he did. I am confused. I am befuddled. Someone give me a thesaurus so I can find more words to describe how amazed I am and how amazed he is that the Bears are terrible. I don't get it. Kevin Warren, please take me out of my misery. Get him out of here.
Hey, can you do me a favor, Pay? Can you give me a couple more sentences of this? I need this for, my audience there. Come on, I got something for you. I got something lined up for you. Just give me something.
I can prep you. Hey, my fans are saying it's not necessarily Poles' issue. And they were correct in saying that we offered Poles the job first. He turned it down to go to Chicago, which is fine. Cool with that. But that is the ownership's problem. How is the ownership restricted Poles and prior to that, Eberflus? Is it an ownership problem?
Well, the ownership of the Chicago Bears, you all know, Virginia McCaskey, she still owns the team, passed down from her father, George Halas, legendary owner of the Chicago Bears, one of the architects of the International Football League. But for me to really answer that question in truth, you really don't know. Obviously, you cut the head off of the snake to kill the snake, right? You can lay a lot of the problem right there. For me, in particular, I laid a lot of problem with the president, the longtime president that we just replaced. So I assumed that we would be better now that we got Kevin Warren in charge. But the ownership of the Chicago Bears is not very vocal. They lay in the shadows like a serpent. I did say snake, right? They lay in the shadows like a serpent. They lay in the shadows like Cobra Commander, like an evil villain of a 1980s children's cartoon show. They're like Decepticons. They just sit in the back. They don't say anything, but you see them. But you see them when everything's going bad, and you can't tell if they're pleased or upset. They're just there. George McCaskey, the son of Virginia McCaskey, he's de facto. He's the CEO of the Bears right now. And he has not been good ever since he took over. I believe he's in his 15th season, something around there. The Bears haven't been good under his watchful eye, under his eye. I can't wait for that show to come back on Hulu. If you know, you know. But under his watchful eye, the Bears have not been good, Dave. So if anybody was to blame the ownership, I mean, you're not wrong. You wouldn't be wrong.
Okay. Well, I think Kevin Warren has a bit to contribute to it as well. How you guys have organized that whole thing over in Chicago and who runs what and how decisions are made is a little strange to me.
Yes. To me as well, Dave. Everything that the Bears do is strange and weird. I want them to get strange and weird in the win column one day before I get too old. But we're under 90 days away from pitchers and catchers before it, so I can't be too upset.
Well, and if that's the case, you're also under 90 days from hopefully getting a new head coach. There was a question, who would you like?
Who would I like as head coach? If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have said give it Thomas Brown the job. He's the interim head coach right now. Why not? He's got he looked like he was good offensive coordinator. Why not give him a good shot? He's been even worse in the 2 games since he's taken over as HNIC. So no, I don't think he's leading that charge. I still think Ben Johnson should be the number 1 name on the wish list. Maybe even Bobby Slowett down there in Houston. See, another Houston name. Why has Houston got all our guys that we should have? I don't know. Maybe we fix some of this offseason. But to be fair, just because you were good in a subservient role, let me not say subservient, but in a lesser role than head coach, does not mean you will be a great head coach. They need to come in here and sell it. They need to have good interview skills. And hopefully Kevin Warren, who all intents and purposes should be the one making this decision, because I don't think Ryan Poles should be charged or trusted to make any more decisions. I just ran down a rant for you, Dave. I just ran down a rant for you that why Ryan Poles should not be trusted. He had all this money. He won the lotto and went to go shop at Dollar General. Don't give him any more choices. He got to keep him away. In fact, if you just say, hey, Ryan, why don't you stay home for the holidays? In fact, don't come back. I wouldn't be mad. Treat him like Craig on Friday. Fire him on his day. Because it feel like he ain't been working all year anyway.
Okay. Now, what's interesting is over on my side of the house, we've heard, obviously, Brian Flores. But Brian Flores was interviewed in that coaching cycle by you guys and was turned down. So he may decline even if he's offered. But I'm also hearing Josh McCown, our quarterback's coach.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. For both of those 2 names you said. I like Brian Flores
for you guys.
Yes, and that's exactly why he cannot. I go ahead and answer that one right there. Josh McCown, you're not welcome back to Chicago. But Brian Flores, excellent coach. You saw what he did in Miami. He can make paella out of canned noodles. So I mean, I believe that he's pretty good at coach. What we don't need is Brian Flores' track record with young quarterbacks. Don't need that. We don't need Brian Flores calling our young quarterback trash. We don't need that. We don't need to play with their confidence. Let's just let's keep that moving.
Even with his 50 shades of fingernail polish.
You got to take the polish. You got to take the fingernail polish with the guy.
Okay,
it's a package deal, Dave.
All right, I believe you. It's got to be, and that's going to be part of when you guys go through the coaching search and hiring. That coach is willing to take on Caleb Williams as his charge, because he's not going to be able to draft anybody immediately and say, "Hey, no, Caleb's the previous guy. You guys drafted him number 1. You're going to keep him and get all the money out of him." At least I would think. But anyways, well, let's go to the second game of